They needed very little encouragement, and let's hear from him now. Trent Alexander-Arnold is with Des Kelly. Des.
Thanks, Jake. That's more like the Liverpool we expect. Pressing from the start, you must be happy with that.
Yeah, massively. I think the performance was great from the lads. I think on Saturday it was disappointing. We never really got going, our press wasn't there, we were slow out the blocks, but it's complete opposite today. Started well and continued it throughout the game. They had their spells in the second half and stuff, but I think overall we played outstanding.
And a fantastic goal. That's many hours on the training ground, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't normally score them from that side. I usually score them from the other side of the pitch. So
give away your secrets.
No, it was no, for me it was just about getting in on target. That's what I've been focusing on when I'm practicing now. Hit the target, there's always a chance of it going in, rebound, stuff like that. It's the most dangerous, so just make sure I'm hitting the target these days.
And you've been getting plenty of headlines, shall we say, and a lot of people questioning you. It's nice to see a big smile in your face for doing something brilliantly.
Oh, no matter what, I always try and think positively. Yeah, people say things, but for me, it's about going out there and performing for the team. That's the only thing that matters, is coming out here, getting the wins, and helping the team win games. Yeah, it's been a slow start to the season for me, but I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Was the new formation a factor tonight? Did that make things a little bit more comfortable?
Yeah, definitely. I think we went back to a bit more of a basic 4-4-2 and played it really well. We shifted across the pitch really well. We made it compact. They couldn't play through us. They were playing a lot of long balls and stuff like that, and we were picking up the second ball. So, yeah, it was the change of tactics definitely helped us today. So we'll see what happens going forward.
And Arsenal, and then back up to Glasgow. Nice and busy.
Yeah, the area is going to be very, very, very intense. But for us, it's what we used to. We used to play 3 games a week and stuff like that. So there's no excuses there. It's exciting. When it's coming thick and fast, it's exciting for us.
Thanks, Trent.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, well played, that man. He makes his way off the pitch. And look, we love to focus on the things that people can't do sometimes in this country, but when you focus on what he can do, that is a man that can do beautiful things with a football.
Yeah, listen, with the ball, he's a magician. He's the numbers he's putting up in recent seasons has never been seen from a fullback in this country, really. So, in that sense, he's the modern day fullback. Where he has been questioned is in defensive positions. And I think he would be honest enough to say that, there's been a part of that in his game, and he's maybe lapses in concentration and things he can clean up on. But again, I'm one of those who likes to look at the good things in players and what they bring to the team, and I think this team has been built to get the best out of him in an attacking sense. And we saw a lot of that today in his passing, maybe not as far forward as normal, but the area when he does go and vacate that area was very much protected today with Jordan Henderson, and I think that factor there plays into him being able to perform at his best when he's the best Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, I thought Jordan Henderson was absolute key today. I bet he was delighted when he saw him on the team sheet, when he saw the shape that they were playing. No question about it. In that first half, he filled in for him every single time he went forward. And to have that insurance behind you when you're going forward must be a great thing, because, of course, he has been caught out of position. Or has he? He gets in forward positions, and that means that there's a gap there. But when someone else is plugging it, he can do it and not even worry about what's behind him. Yeah. And I think that is key to him. If he's got Jordan Henderson in the team, I think we see a different player.
And I see you're still standing there, Ali, just running through what happened in that game. It was one of the frustrations, I think, is that as the game went on, they got wider, they got further forwards, they looked a bit more dynamic. Like, they didn't do themselves justice, Rangers, in that first half, anywhere near.
You're absolutely spot on. And it was interesting as the game developed. There's a couple of times, the second goal's a perfect example of it. Well, Kent get the ball in the wide left-hand side position, and I think for the first time in the game he got himself in a 1v1 situation with Alexander-Arnold, and I'm thinking to myself, go and take him on, get into the penalty box, commit him, anything can happen. He didn't do that. 2 minutes later, ball's up the other end of the park. Diaz does exactly that. He runs at Tavernier, and I think it's King gets a penalty, and that's a big difference. Listen, Trent Alexander was fantastic today going forward. But as I said at half-time, I thought it was a good game for him to play in, particularly the lack of Rangers attacking force, but also Jordan Henderson filled those gaps in for him superbly.
I think it's details. In these big games, it's the difference in details and taking the opportunities that arise, and you've got to then go for the jugular. What Ali's saying there is bang on. When you get a chance, they would have said and set up to get Ryan Kent in a position to get 1v1. And when that opportunity comes, you've got to take that with both hands. And he'll probably look back at the end of the game and go, do you know what? That was a chance for me to go and do it. And to be fair, the two wingers that came on later in the game, they wanted to get at people, and they showed a different kind of energy in the game that you thought, if they maybe had started like that, hindsight's a great thing, we all know, but if they'd maybe started like that, being a bit more adventurous on the front foot with those type of players, they may have given themselves a better opportunity and maybe wouldn't have allowed Liverpool to be so much on the front foot as they were.
Okay, well, as the rain just slowly starts to spit out here, we've been busy. We started the evening outside as the coaches arrived, pitchside studio back down here. They've quickly emptied out here. It's just us and a few thousand Rangers fans that are probably singing your name, as they have been most of the evening, every time they've laid eyes on you, Ali. Yeah, they're still enjoying themselves, aren't they, look? And fair play to them. As we came on air this evening, Ali made the point 10 years ago they were struggling in Scottish football, and now look at them in the Champions League playing Liverpool. And they would have hoped for more. It wasn't to be this evening, but what a journey it's been for Rangers to get to this point, and we'll see what happens when they invite Liverpool back to their place next week, and of course we will be there. Well, I'm glad we're pitchside, because we're hoping that as the players emerge from the dressing rooms, they'll come out, join us, share their thoughts on the evening, but we're going to stay here pitchside at Anfield. Don't forget we're live until 11:45 this evening with Champions League tonight. Plenty more coming your way as we reflect on a good night for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Reasons for him to smile. Applauded off the pitch just a few minutes before the end. It's a win for Liverpool. Back-to-back Champions League wins. Happy days around here. All the reaction after the break.
Alexander-Arnold takes! Alexander-Arnold scores! Well, he might have his critics, he might have had a rough time recently, and there aren't many better in that situation than Liverpool's number 66. Luis Diaz to take on King, he's got quick feet, Diaz, he spotted a gap, down he goes, penalty. Salah scores. Cool as you like, calm and collected. Liverpool's main man in situations like that, and you never felt he was going to miss.
So, job done this evening for Liverpool, and we're joined by a man who played his role perfectly there this evening. Jordan Henderson's with us. You'll be pleased to know that the three men to your right spent most of the evening singing your praises. I think actually Rio might have said that's the best I've seen him for a little while. Did it feel like a strong performance from you personally?
Yeah, I felt good out there, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I thought we played some really good stuff. Obviously, changed your formation a little bit. First half especially, I thought were really good. Intensity levels were there, and overall, I think we've got to be happy with the performance.
Jordan, was you put out there, and it tweaked a little bit, you said about the formation, but we spoke to you on Between the Lines earlier, or last season, and you spoke about that little right-hand side where Trent vacates at times and you shuffle over and become that insurance policy. Was that something you kind of honed in on today?
Yeah, I think you've got to give Trent the licence to get forward at times and produce what he can produce up the final third of the pitch. But I thought he was really good defensively as well tonight. You know, he done the basics really well. And overall, I thought it was a really good performance. So, yeah, I didn't have to cover too much.
No good.
Just to give us an insight, because I think people that criticise footballers feel that footballers are immune to this kind of conversation. How much does it bleed into a footballer's psyche, or how much is it a conversation at the training ground? I think it's important for fans to know what that sort of conversation can do to a young player.
And also as a captain, how you deal with that as well.
I think it can be difficult. You know, you try to not listen to social media, especially when you're going through a little bit of a tough period as an individual or as a team. You got to switch off to social media and everything that is the noise around, and try and just focus on what you do day to day. And improve on your own performance, improve on the team's performance, and just really stay focused on what we're trying to achieve as a team. But it can be difficult. That's not easy, you know, with everything that goes in the outside world. It is difficult, and it can hurt players at times. But you've got to try and find a way to use that as fuel and as energy to, when you get on the pitch, to prove people wrong. And that's what I've learned the older I've got, really.
And what's the most effective way for you as a leader in the dressing room to look after some of the other players? What do you tend to do?
I think I've got to sense certain individuals at times. Some of them need an arm around the shoulder, and some of them might need a kick up the backside at times. But it's trying to find the balance. You know, when we're on the pitch, it's not personal. We're trying to shout and dictate and try to do things that's going to help the team. But off the field, you know, you can have conversations with players and try and help them as much as possible, and I feel that responsibility, of course, but we've also got other leaders and experienced players within the dressing room that help with that. And it's about staying together, staying as a team, especially when you're going through tough moments. And we've been through plenty of them as a team, and we've got to use our experience to get through this one.
Jordan, just going back to the game tonight, it felt in that first half that Liverpool looked back to somewhere near the best, especially out of possession, pressing and winning the ball back. How did that first half feel? Did it feel like that to you?
Yeah, it felt good. Intensity, everything felt really good. Energy, winning the ball back, high up and everything. Possession, you know, winning the tackles, making the last step into the tackles and getting the ball. So overall, I think we've got to be really pleased, and it's a step in the right direction for sure.
I think that's a great point, Jordan. Looking at Liverpool, I thought they were brilliant in possession, but equally excellent not in possession. Was that something that you were going ahead? Rangers playing the 5 at the back, we felt they couldn't get out, and it was due to the press. Would you have gone about it the same way if Rangers had went with back 4?
I think so. I think we're focusing on what we needed to do. We had an idea that they probably would play a 5 at the back. But yeah, I think whether they play a 4, whether they play a 5, you know, you've got to try and adapt a little bit to the situation within the game. But ultimately, we want to press with intensity when we do go. And I felt as we picked and chose the right times today. You know, we weren't always pressing and pressing. We waited for the right moments, and we went and won the ball back, which is important in games.
Okay, well, look, thank you very much for joining us. We've got to let you go. I think you've got other demands on your time. We could have spoken for ages, but listen, well played this evening, and congratulations.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
You needed, and just what the team needed. Well played, that man. He was very good this evening.
It's interesting as well, just to hear, like, as a captain in the modern game, how they go about things. We know what it was like in our time. Captains and leaders in dressing rooms would go in there and would shake a few, again, put their arms around. It shows you it doesn't change. Just the time's gone forward, but it doesn't change. The same old ways you deal with situations and people.
What I got from there is he knows his players, he knows the mentality of all his players and his teammates, and he doesn't handle them all the same. Like you said, he'll handle them differently.
I liked it when he said, you know, sometimes I have to shout on the pitch. It's not personal, it's just getting the job done. And we saw a couple of times this evening, like he was. In fact, we've got a run where we see he's balling out.
I asked him before he came on air. Actually, I said when he was shouting at Trent early in the first half, what was it about? He said, no, I wanted him to keep the ball, give the ball away. And it's those little things, and people, he mentioned about taking it personal, and players being like understanding that being spoken to aggressively on the pitch doesn't mean I don't like you, or you say, oh, I'm not going to be your mate anymore, or take it personally. No, on the pitch, during the 90 minutes, what's said on the pitch stays on the pitch, because we want to be better as a team, and I'm trying to help you, and don't take things personal. And as a team, you need that.
Absolutely. It's good tonight. And also, it takes a special kind of person to take the criticism that Trent has had and then stand there 7 minutes into the game and ping that free kick into the top corner. It tells us about his mentality. Yeah, I love the way a lot of the time as well, he just keeps himself to himself. He doesn't feel the need to come out and you know, go on social media or do his interviews and tell everybody, you know, what he's doing, what he's good at. He just keeps his head down. He lets his football do the talking. Listen, when he's in this position, nobody criticises him. I mean, when the ball is at his feet, he's an absolute joy to watch. And Liverpool, you know, Rio just mentioned to Jordan Henderson before about filling in the gaps, trying to, you know, let him go forward with that freedom and whatever. And there's not many fullbacks in the world that you would almost shape your team in many ways and shape 1 or 2 players around just to give him that freedom. As a fullback, I mean, I've heard of it as a number 10 or as a striker or as a wide man, but as a fullback to be doing that for your team just shows you the regard that his teammates, his manager have for him. So no question at all what he's like as a player in possession.
I think as a player, Michael, he will feel the criticism. Of course he will. I defy MD to tell me that players don't feel criticism. That will give him a major boost this evening. His skipper was out of this world. Trent Alexander was out of this world. But arguably, believe it or not, the man of the match might have been the Rangers goalkeeper. He's beaten by a free kick that was out of this world, and he's beaten by a penalty. But if it wasn't for him, it could have been a far bigger scoreline, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it works well if you've got Jordan there hoovering up behind Trent. It allows him to do what he can do brilliantly.
Well, I think Jurgen Klopp, I think you saw him do an interview during the week, and you could see the frustrations in why people keep picking on Trent, because I feel that he picks a team that is going to be able to get the best out of Trent's best attributes, which are in attacking third, spraying the ball over the pitch, opening teams up. And the defensive part of it, I think in his mind, comes very much second. And if he can create a team and an area where that they can protect him in that sense, then great. Listen, I think this season there's been elements where Trent himself will say, I could do better in these isolated situations. But in terms of the way that Liverpool set up, is to get the best of him further forward. And I think that, listen, he's going to go down as one of the best right-backs we've ever seen in England. He's going to break all the records in terms of assists and goals. I think him and Reece James will go close together for their careers. It'll be interesting to see where they end up. But this kid, I've had some time with him here and there over the last couple of years. One thing he doesn't lack is character and personality. This kid, he wants to be the best. He asks all the right questions, at sustaining top-level performances at the top and winning. And this kid, I think he's had a good taste of winning here. He ain't going to let that slip.
Very good. Let's have a look at the second goal. Look, you made a career out of picking up the ball and running at people. And that's what Liverpool did this evening. Ali was shouting for Rangers to do it, but it was Liverpool that did it, and they got their reward.
Yeah, and we highlighted Diaz at the start of the game as well in his direct play. And this is the bit that Ali's referring to. They could have been a little bit more direct in certain opportunities, could Rangers. And then they paid the penalty, really. Jordan Henderson with a great switch. And then this lad is so direct when he gets the ball. He loves committing players. He loves beating players. He's got great feet. Gets bundled over in the box. And to be fair to the lads, I'm sat there and Ali said McGregor will go one way, and he did. And Rio said he'll dink it down the middle, and he did. So they called it
Rio
right.
wished the conversation had been recorded, didn't he?
I think the referee called it right as well. It was a penalty, and then Mo Salah doing what he does best.
It was amazing. We were sitting up there thinking that how many times Diaz and Salah got the fullbacks 1v1
Direct
in this game. It was you think you got 5 at the back, you'd be able to double up. But I think that the position they put Jota in, kind of all the thought process of the defenders being able to go out and commit 2 against the wide players. But when they got them there, they were direct, and that's what you want at the top level. You play to get people 1v1 or create overloads, and when they got at Liverpool, they went for the jugular.
And they did it on a regular basis, and I think you're spot on in the analysis here, Rio, because I'm thinking to myself, have they got a back 5? The gaps in between the left centre-back and the full-back and the right centre-back full-back, I think, how can that possibly be? But it was because Jota was dropping into an area, Diaz would drop into an area, Salah would drop into an area and create that space in there. Very clever.
Good stuff. Right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will get more reaction from both dressing rooms. Of course, we'll hear from Jurgen Klopp on a win that he was desperate for his team, but also Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, who has found it such hard going in the Champions League. But look, this is a huge step up for Rangers compared to recent seasons. They're finding it hard, and we'll get his reaction after the break as well. Stay where you are. Welcome back to Anfield, where that man got the opening goal and Liverpool got 3 vital Champions League points. A disappointing night for Rangers. A great night, though, for Jurgen Klopp and his players, and we can hear from the Liverpool boss now. He's talking to Des Kelly.
Jurgen, was that a good night's work?
Absolutely. Was exactly what we needed. We needed a super solid performance, top defending, everybody committing in a new formation, and sometimes you have to change things, obviously, and it worked out for tonight. It's a bit of a surprise for sure for Rangers, the way we set up. It was one of the ideas, but it was more an idea that we get into the right spaces, and we had that. So 2-0, imagine we had plenty of chances. Imagine we would have used more of them. All of a sudden, it can soften the situation again. That's not what we need in the moment. 2-0, I'm more than happy. 2 set-piece goals I love as well, because you can celebrate them without waiting for VAR. That's good. And really good game and very important.
Well, how big a factor was that new formation, and how much time did you have to work on it? Very little, I'd imagine.
Yeah, 1 session actually. Of course, there's not more. We recovered from the last game physically, and then we told the boys how we want to set it up, and and I thought they did particularly well. We had great moments, and one of my favorite moments where you could see that we didn't do it more often was when Darwin cut the ball back, but the other 2 strikers are already towards the line. If one of them stands, that's perfect pass actually. So unlucky in moments offensively, rock solid defensively, apart from last few minutes where they had the header after the corner, I think. But that's it now. Rangers have now a week time to prepare for the next game, and we obviously play Arsenal first, but then we go there again, and it will be a different game, but it's okay.
Their goalkeeper had a fantastic game. You could have scored many more, but of course Trent scores, and he's been criticised a lot recently. People are telling him what he can't do, but we saw what he could do tonight.
I said now plenty of times. There's no problem with defending. It's just the way we play, and in good moments or we used to play. Let me say, like in good moments, everything is fine and nobody is worrying about when Trent is pressing high and someone is passing the ball over his head, and Joel, Ibu, or Joey are there for protection, then it's all fine. If we are not there, then it looks like we are exposed. For today, we thought it makes sense to set it up a bit more. Serious. Yeah. So when he had a lot of top defending situation, I think everybody could see that, and on top of that, he has a good. It's a while ago actually that he scored from a free kick, so that was good timing.
It felt like you've gone up a step in terms of intensity as well, straight from the start.
Yeah, but that is clear. We expect the reaction from us. Everybody expects the reaction from us. So this is. Not a situation where you feel close to holiday. Yeah? It's a situation where we really work hard. Everybody can imagine that. We really want to turn it into a positive way, but for that we need consistency. And we say now plenty of times for consistency you need top-class defending. And that's what we did tonight, and that's why we had the space and the freedom to attack as well. And for the first time it worked out that we played this system the first time. I thought it worked out pretty well.
Thanks, Jürgen.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. You could tell the way he was talking there, actually, just how relieved he is now important the result is this evening. The performance, impressive, and that's really good for them. He knew that a win was what they needed, actually.
Well, they were on the back foot, weren't they, after the first performance in Italy against Napoli. And they bounced back impressively, you know. Maybe a little bit fortunate against Ajax, but dominated tonight. And 6 points after 3 games, they're in a pretty strong position now to go and qualify. Interesting that he was talking about the new formation in a way, the little tweak in midfield. I can't see that as a long-term thing, but I do think that he might utilise that again. He's got so many attacking players that he might want to push, 4 into the team on certain occasions. But they go to Arsenal at the weekend, away at the Emirates. I think they'll be less attacking and a little bit more conservative in that one.
Agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I said to the boys, I thought, with all due respect, I thought Rangers were a good opposition for Liverpool tonight to maybe change something. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I think they could have got away with it. They knew they were going to have the vast majority of the ball, and that turned out to be the case. So it was a perfect opportunity to go with 2, and maybe, as we said to Jordan Henderson, drop in there, let Trent Alexander-Arnold go. But in the bigger games against really your Napoli's, your stronger opposition, I'll be surprised if he goes to that tactic.
I think you've got to commend Jürgen Klopp for that, though. Sometimes you've got to find a way. You don't just keep trudging along what you're used to. You've got to find a way sometimes and change things up to try and get that spark. And today they got that, and I think he needs to be kind of applauded for that as well.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, let's head down the touchline where Emma Dodds is. Look, Emma, we expected Ali McCoy to be serenaded most of the evening. What we loved coming out here at the end of the game to hear Emma Dodds, she's one of our own, being sung by the Rangers fans. In good voice as well, they were.
They were still in very good voice at the end of the game, Jake, despite not too much to cheer about during it. That's certainly true. It's a lot quieter now, though, because they've all been allowed out of the away end. But Kenny Miller is alongside me. And Kenny, Jürgen Klopp's just called it a good night for Liverpool. What went wrong for Rangers? Were they outplayed by Liverpool? Do you feel Rangers did what they could in that match?
Well, they were definitely outplayed, there's no doubt about it. They've came up against a very good team. I think Ali's right, it was probably a good game for Liverpool. The way Rangers set up, it was about containment more than anything else and trying to stay in the game as long as they possibly could. And they've effectively lost 2 set plays. You know, it's been a free kick and a penalty. Liverpool had umpteen chances. Had it not been for Alan McGregor, it could have been a lot more. But it's, I think it was a good night for Liverpool, a comfortable evening, and it was a routine victory. But Rangers, after losing 4 and losing 3, they had to come here and play that way. So it's disappointing overall for Rangers, the result, but not to be unexpected, like to lose the game here at Anfield.
You mentioned Alan McGregor there, and well, the scoreline could have been significantly worse off from a Rangers perspective if it hadn't been for him. He produced some absolutely top drawer saves tonight, didn't he, Kenny?
He sure did. It was. I think he takes Núñez home with him tonight, the amount of saves he made from him. But for me, this was the best one a lot. Salah cutting inside on that wonderful left foot that he's got, and he just gets the fingertips on it as it's on the drop, and it's a great save. This was another one. This was one for Núñez. Stands up, stays as long as he can, but reads him. It's it was a good night. I think we've seen 6 or 7 really incredible saves from him over the course of the game. Núñez is a constant threat, to be fair to him. Never shied away for that next opportunity. It was a good night, fella. Again, that's why there's been so many calls for him to be like to get his number one slot back. I mean, this, I actually thought he shot over the bar, but you can see he just gets the fingertips on it to put it over the bar for Jota.
What does Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, we'll hear from him shortly, but what does he take from this to try and take into next week to have a different end result?
You know, the lads are talking there, do they go to a back four, do they try and play a little bit more, do they try and play with a little bit more attacking impetus? You know, sometimes it doesn't really matter what you do against this elite level opposition. You're still going to find yourself right up against it. I mean, I thought Thiago, the lads are talking about John Henderson, who was outstanding. Trent was outstanding, but I thought I thought Thiago was incredible as well. I mean, he's a conductor of the orchestra in there. Some of his passing, his control, he's never flustered. They're just a wonderful team. So Rangers will have to. I mean, I can see it being much more of the same next week. Did they go a little bit more attacking? I think they can within that system still as well. But it's going to be an uphill task. There's no doubt about it.
An uphill task then for Kenny, for Rangers, according to Kenny, next week, Jake. It remains to be seen what happens in that one. But from us here at the other side of the pitch, back to you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for your hard work tonight, Kenny. Emma, we'll let you go and find a bar with the Rangers fans. You can be serenaded late into the night if you like.
What a treat.
What a treat. All right, thank you very much for your hard work this evening. Appreciate it from both of you. Right, we're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, we will hear from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. We'll get the Rangers boss's reaction to this evening, where it just feels like they could have done more. It was always going to be a hard uphill task against Liverpool. But did Rangers really do enough? How will they reflect on it? We'll find out very shortly when we come back. But it was Trent Alexander-Arnold with the opening goal, making it 1-0 to Liverpool early in the first half. Mo Salah with the penalty early in the second that put Rangers to bed, left him frustrated. Hear from him next. Well, it was another challenging Champions League night for Rangers. That's now 9 goals conceded in their 3 group stage games so far. Let's get the post-match thoughts of their manager. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is with Des.
Gio, what's the verdict tonight? Was it an ultimately frustrating night?
Well, I mean, it's always frustrating when you lose. It was a hard game for us. I think they started the way we expected. You know, a lot of attacks, a lot of waves of fast football. I think we did reasonable well. Of course, it's always harsh to get a free kick against and the first goal out of a set piece, but. You know, I think he took the free kick really well, and you know, after that we stayed in the game. You know, as long as it's 1-0, I think the second half we did much better in the moments we could have pressed and go forward to go as a team. I think it was much better than the first half, and in those moments, especially in the end, you know, after the penalty, you know, we had some chances to score the 2-1 and might. You know, get more after the game, but I think the players did really well. You know, they showed the character. They kept going, and you know, especially set pieces, we defended really well. We get a lot of set pieces against us, so that was very positive. And but of course, the most important thing, the result is not positive.
Your goalkeeper had a fantastic game, particularly in the first half as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he had. You know, we had some good chances. You know, we already knew with the lineup there had so much attacking options going forward with a lot of speeds, a lot of creativity, and that showed the first half. So I think we did well as a defense, and of course with Ellen as well to save some chances.
Some lessons there that you can take back up to Ibrox?
Well, of course, you know, it's for us. It's it's a level we haven't competed in for many years. So I think these games will improve us as a team. I think if you see our first 3 games, I think our development has been positive, although the result wasn't. But and of course we become better as a team, and we should we will take the experience we have now into the league, because there, you know, it's 2 points difference, and we have to keep going, and that starts again on Saturday against St Mirren.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
He's right to try and take the positives out of not just tonight, but the previous couple of games. And we do have to remember that, you know, Ajax and Napoli and Liverpool, they are in a different financial stratosphere to where Rangers are, and this is a case of progression for them.
Jake, 100%. Rangers found themselves in a position tonight where a lot of probably Scottish clubs do against Celtic and Rangers. You know, financially, Rangers and Celtic in Scotland are light years ahead, but in this arena, it's complete opposite, so it's always going to be a struggle. And listening to Giovanni Van Bronckhorst there, if you take the result in isolation, it's not a disaster. Absolutely, it's not a disaster. you know, this Liverpool side will rip some teams apart here, and they defended well. A lot of the credit must go to Rangers goalkeeper, who was outstanding. But the disappointing side of it for me was I don't think Rangers were good enough in possession, and they can be a lot better in possession. Wide areas, it did change a little bit second half, and they got a little bit more joy. I would expect, it'd be interesting to see the next game, but I would expect them probably to go with back four and at least have a go and attack and be slightly more positive.
Well, actually, that's an interesting thing, how Rangers approach this next game. I mean, if they draw or lose the game, then they're out. So they need to go and attack Liverpool. They need to take the game to them. They need to try and get the winner.
Yeah, I think you can think like that, but I think as a manager, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst will be thinking of the bigger picture. Does he go there and be really expansive and open the team up a little bit, but then leave himself to be like dismantled? And then what that does to the confidence going for the next part of the season? I think he'll be thinking beyond that. I don't think he's sitting there expecting to get a result out of the Liverpool game. Listen, he'll go and try, but I think he'll look at the bigger picture and go, listen, if we can be damage limitations to a certain extent, like it was tonight. Listen, they lost by 2 set pieces tonight. If you look at it like that, yes, they give up a lot of chances, but if you look at it on paper, it's 2 set pieces they conceded from, and they'll take positives from that, even though it was a defeat, I think.
The only thing I would say, boys, is if Rangers have any hopes, realistically, of getting third place, because I think that's realistically, you know, what they've got to set their dreams for. They need to take something, I think, from the Liverpool game, and they've got to beat Ajax at home. Because they got a sore one over in Amsterdam, the fact of the matter is now they're going to have to, I think they're going to have to find 4 points from somewhere and beat Ajax at home to have any chance. So in that respect, they're going to have to be a little bit more positive, I feel.
And home games were always going to be their biggest chance, wasn't it? So they need to get something big out the next game.
We shall see. Right, just to let you know that there's plenty more football coming your way on BT Sport tomorrow evening, as there always is on these European nights. We've got 8 matches for you. Celtic away from home, Chelsea against Milan, Manchester City, Copenhagen, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Juventus. They're all in action as well. So it's a busy one tomorrow evening, but we're not done for tonight. We're live for the next hour, straight after the break. Champions League tonight. See you in a moment.